Hello, we are the Ministry of the Real Truth. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. You're much appreciated. And this is titled, When You Hear a Loved Family Member's Atheist Negative. That takes your breath away. While pondering a new fresh topic for our next video, we were party to a negative statement or negative statements by one of our younger family members, which, though we were slow to respond, we missed that opportunity, made us or helped us to ponder and then write down a potential response to that retort, right? So that's what this video is about, and we've got some really good comments in regards to it, as below. One in particular by this person here, great comment, we like it, okay, which states in regards to this video and what we've said: Jesus, the creator God, has given you breath, life, and made you animate. That's nice. Can you demonstrate this to be true though? He has given you the opportunity to, etc., the free gift of salvation. Nah, you have to sacrifice rational skepticism to do it, and it's immoral anyway. So we're questioning him on that. Haven't got a response as of this video being created yet. Yeah. He shed his blood. Jesus shed his blood for us for the remission of sin. So you're saying, well, basically we're saying God sacrificed himself to himself to act as a loophole for rules he made in the first place. And okay, we replied, nice, a great question posed, and then we added some commentary in regards to that question and what's contained in that video. Nice, a great question posed. Yes, I can, or we can, at the Ministry of the Real Truth, through our own or my own personal life experiences and realizations in regard to the life that I was formerly living, the worldly, fleshy, etc., right? And the many opportunities that came my way, which I could have taken advantage of, which could have sent me to jail. If I did, I should be rotting in jail because of them today. Yeah? Do the crime, pay for it with the time. But there was always seemed to be that small whispering voice that said, wait, stop. Use common sense and logic and look by using your eyes to realize why you shouldn't indulge in it. Okay? Or see the evidence that clearly indicates that that person in that moment is lying to you. This I regard as the voice of my saving, be it conscience, cognitive neurowiring, simple thought and analysis, or the divine. I'll go with the last one, because one time cold calling on the street, I was a Scientologist for about a year, but I pulled out of it when a trainee under me, because I was training to be a auditor, that's like hypnotherapy, right, pulling people out of their depressions, etc., removing the engrams so they're not affected by these images, mental images, recall the conscious negative brain and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so they're not affected by it anymore. Okay, so I had to go through training, learn the policies, and I realized before I signed an agreement and then I was able to do it, that there's certain things you couldn't do, like touch the client or be suggestive or stuff like that, right? And went through the training and found that it really helped people, took them from their unhappy state and brought them out of it, or cleared them of those engrams and left them in a happy state, right? Because if you don't, well, they could be stuck and all that sort of stuff, right? And get depressed and all this sort of stuff because of those engrams. But they were so happy that somebody had touched on those issues they had when younger. Say like they were abused by a family member or whatever, and gave them relief. So one of the policies was you don't accept gifts from them of any kind, be it romantic, normal gifts, or sexual advances or whatever, right? Okay, but there was a realization I had from learning that, and not going to go into that, okay? But it would make you very, very popular. Okay. Yeah, so I'm out in the street trying to get people into this this organisation, Scientology building, right, to do these personal IQ tests. Right, they go through this test, 100 questions or something like that in this folder, and then they fill it out, a questionnaire test or whatever, right? And then you analyse it on this chart, one of these L. Ron Hubbard Scientology charts, right? To see whether they're having problems in their life. What are the problems, all that sort of stuff. And the whole idea is to sell them a book, a remedy book, right? Like a touch assist and all this sort of stuff. That's the whole plan of it. That's the way it worked out, right? Because I looked at the chart and it was like, it was up and down, up and down. And I did these tests sometimes, it was suggested I do it to see where I'm at, to see how I am, because I might look too tired or something like that, or withered or depressed or something, right? So they're trying to figure out what my engrams are, what's those mental images or whatever's affecting me, right? Making me like that. And I realised it's up and down, and you can never get that straight line, okay? Perfect chart, okay, with no engrams. It's impossible, right? Because it always was up and down, right? There was something there that they'd pick out and say, well, we recommend this book. That was the whole plan of it, right? Okay. And then what made me drop out of it was because a trainee under me, right? Like an assistant tutor or whatever, right? She was questioned about, was she on some sort of drug during a study class, right? A personal study class, Dianetics study program. We've done a video on that, the best way to study and why you have misunderstood, why you give up the study because you have a misunderstood or words in a sentence that's not defined, you haven't cleared it up right. So like in this book, in the video, the example of the children were, let's say, restless, or were unenergetic. This is just a recall, right? So probably not the exact words. They were lazing around, all that sort of stuff during the daytime, but when the crepuscle arrived, they were up and running around. They had all this energy, right? Sudden energy. And you see, there's one word in the sentence that throws you off, right? Because you don't understand what that particular word is. You haven't got a definition for it. You haven't got it defined. So it's a misunderstood, right? And it turns out to be darkness or something like that. Yeah, so we're in this study class, doing our own thing. And this tutor says, to this girl, look, have you been smoking the weed? All this stuff. She says, no. And of course, she flatly denies it. And she says, what's it to you? She says, but this the tutor says it's a policy by L. Ron Hubbard. No weed intake, all that sort of stuff. So she blurts out and drops our tutor, right? Our tutor, staff member above us, in the poo by saying, well, she smokes weed. She admitted, and it's like, you stupid, you silly little girl, you just dropped her in it. So it's like when you sign up for Scientology, you got to sign this 5-year contract, right? So you stay there with them for 5 years and learn all this stuff, get all the courses that they offer you or they recommend for free. Yeah, if you break that contract, say like you decide, after 2 years or 3 years or even earlier, I don't like this anymore, I'm running away, I quit, right? Then you have to pay it all back. And it could range from $50 course at the beginning to a $10,000 higher level one, right? So you got to pay it all back. Imagine, like, this tutor was there for 15 years apparently. So they pulled her up on that because she'd breached this or broken this policy, L. Ron Hubbard's policy, whatever. So she had to pay it all back. She had to quit and then pay it all back, or else she'd be an enemy of Scientology or this sort of stuff. That's how they work it, right? So I was in a meeting when I heard this, morning meeting where it's like, what the hell? In my mind, what the hell? 15 years? Oh my gosh, this chick's going to die broke, right, she's never going to recover. So I was adding it up in my mind. Oh, I've been here, close to a year. Da, 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 da. Oh my gosh. Okay, so probably a couple of grand or more. Didn't know the exact amount at the time. Found out later it was about that, right? If I quit, I'm going to have to pay all that back, right? Oh, it's stuff just, I'm out of here. This is a scam, you know? But seeing as the lady lived across the road from me, one of the top ladies of the organisation, and her husband was in human rights department, right? I couldn't really run away. They were directly across the road from my, from my house, living in the same street, so they could come and knocking and demanding or whatever, suggesting. So, being responsible, went there, and, went to make amends to pay the debt. Was paying it off for a little while in the bank, through the bank, whatever. And then she decided to, because I was so honest or whatever, cut it off, right? Cut the rest of the debt, and know the rest of the debt. So that was cool. But yeah, I got out of that, okay? So I was doing this test on the street, because you had to bring people in, and then if you made any money selling books up, they spread it amongst the organisation, so you might end up selling about 50, 60, maybe $100 worth of books, and you might, because it's spread out first to the top staff members or that sort of stuff, you might end up with $2 or $1, right? Because they share, okay? So it's standing there, and this little voice in my head, right? I'm going to use this comment here. I heard a very unusual voice in my mind, like none I've ever heard before. Some people experience that. Wow, that's not like any other voice. It was like a singy sort of voice, etc., etc. And it said to me, it was going to bring me a Christian woman, across my path to talk to me. And amazingly, she came, talked with me. I took her in there to do an IQ test, and she was all cool. Whereas the other group of Christians, they had this one woman or girl that was like, oh, we're Christians and this is Satan and all this sort of stuff, and they wanted to do the test to see what it was all about, but she was like the head honcho. No, this is all satanic, the devil, all this sort of crap, right? And she influenced them all to leave, about 10 or 12 teens, right? Yeah, so that was quite quite amazing. Okay, so she came along, right? We talked, we did the test, and then she went off. She was all happy, etc. Because I asked her, what are you going to be doing in 5 years' time? All that usual Scientology stuff, right? Coincidence, maybe. Was it me talking to myself, having a conversation, answering myself? Maybe right place, right time. Maybe pure chance. Maybe uncanny. No, I don't think so. Okay, because I should have died when younger. Through drowning. I was saved by a Christian at one of these Christian camps or the church that I went to when I was younger. Okay. Was in a pool of water, and the sand shifted, and I couldn't find my footing, and started to drown. Right, and this guy noticed, and he came and saved me. Right, and a friend and I just had enough of life, and we just took as many drugs as we could and all that sort of stuff. Had enough, right? But walking around like totally off our rockers in our city, and a lady pulled up. I believe that she might have been a Christian, not too sure now. Took us to the hospital. We got pumped out and all that sort of stuff, fixed up, and lived on. Okay, and other things where it should have been totally violently throttled, kicked to death by my peers or beaten up or whatever, right? The latter should have ended me. And I came to realise that my life was one that could lead me down an extremely dark road, as that same opportunity or offer keeps being presented to me throughout the years as a temptation set up. This is what I believe, realised it's possibly a temptation set up by the devil, Satan, the old beastie, to make me fall and never recover from, as I'm here, as attested by other members, other people, via means I've looked at, dabbled in, to see if what they're saying is all true, and come to realise, because I already had the thought in my head at some point in life. Yeah, maybe I think it might be true, but I realise, yeah, okay, they might have this natural talent, but they may contact, like they say, we contact the spirits or this sort of stuff, whatever, right? So they're getting that information from some other source, ungodly source, non-godly source, right? Okay, stating that I'm supposed to do this, it's my destiny, it's what I was created for, what I'm on earth here for, no one else can do it, only I can. Now pay $89.95 so I can tell that angel to release that ability or that power so you can do so. Yeah, right. Okay, I understand they've got to survive, they've got to live, they've got to pay the bills, they've got a so-called talent, whatever, and they've got to get paid for it. You know, it's all natural, but it could also be a giant scam. Okay. Yeah, so it came to the realization prior to that and through that, this just basically verified it, that I have a natural talent, skill, verbally, in regards to the Bible, scriptures, etc. So I strongly believe I am being given, or have been given, a second, third, fourth, fifth chance in order to do what I was created for. Sometimes fear sets in. You're afraid, what are people going to say when I'm out there, you know, preaching for the first time, whatever. You get spat on, you get views, all that sort of stuff, usual stuff, right? You see everybody else going through those problems. You know, you try to get over it by going out there and doing it, right? If you're scared of heights, you try to find a way to overcome those heights by putting yourself in a situation like that, right? Etc., etc. Okay, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's very, very dangerous. Okay, so that causes me to be shouted at or talked above when I'm out there, threatened, trolled, falsely accused, persecuted, criticised by family members who are atheistic, etc. And that is the most hurtful thing that could happen coming from your own family. You can't trust your own family. Who can you trust, right? So-called friends and the attempts of convincing, trying to win my confidence in order to make me conform to their dictates and then contribute to their money-mongering schisms. By using any trick or deceitful means, by pulling any trick out of the book, or any book, right? Which causes people to make assumptions, because you're not conforming to their belief system or their way of thinking. It causes people to create assumptions, create lies from out of nowhere, as if we've met or we're intimate, that they think they know me better than I do. And these, my friend, are so-called Christians. Hence the lead up to creating and registering as a minister and registering a congregation, the Ministry of the Real Truth. Did it have another name, like the Congregation of Maya Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Christ the Messiah, but that's too damn long. Someone said, I'm not going to be able to say, oh, what church or denomination are you from? Oh, I'm from the Congregation of Maya Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Christ the Messiah. That's too damn long. So I shortened it, and to do that I had to register it again, second time. So ended up coming up with the Ministry of the Real Truth, and then created policies, etc., to prevent the trolling, etc., etc., by atheists and fundy Christians, or fundamentalist Christians, that I knew was coming. Right? It's like pre-instinct, right? It's just instinctual. Okay, it's just something made me aware of it. Okay, be prepared. Yeah, because it's going to come at you. Right? Look at the examples of all the others. Okay, and then I get these fundy Christians who like to quote by rote, and they quote me half the books of both the Old Testament and New Testament in the comments. Right, so I have to wade through all their junk that they've added to it to be able to comment to each and everything they're coming at me with. Right, some of it is just jibber jabber and total nonsense. Right, but once cleaned up, yeah, then try to attempt to make sense of what they've tried to put across. Okay. And this person here also said he's given you the opportunity to the free gift of salvation. Nah, you have to sacrifice rational skepticism to do it, and it's immoral anyway. So still waiting on the answer to that statement. Yeah, and Jesus basically shed his blood for us for the remission of sins. So God sacrificed himself to himself as to act as the loophole for the rules he made in the first place. Okay, great question, great posed question. We responded to that. This is where people come undone in regards to that comment or statement similar to that, as they haven't read the scriptures enough take all out of context, and so forth. Or they might say, I've read the Bible 25 times. So you go, oh, okay. So I'm stuck with this this here, right? I don't really understand it. Can you explain it to me? And they go, I think, I believe. No. As, what's his name? Ray Higgins, is it? Ex-preacher for 30 years, gone into the Kemet or ancient Egypt, stated, you either know, it's not enough to believe, you should know, right? So, yeah, you should know what you're talking about, you should know, exactly what it means through doing personal research, study, etc., etc. Yeah? You should know. They haven't read the scriptures enough, and they take all out of context and so forth. Yeah, 25 times I've read the Bible. Why would you read it 25 times? Wouldn't you get it pretty down pat the second or third time? You have to do another 19 to 20, 23 more readings of the Bible from Genesis to Revelations? Really? Okay, and we found that through studying it, these new Americanized modern English Bible versions, that there's an introduction or a foreword, right? And they tell you how they came about and why they had to create a new revised English version and what it took, right? And then they had to revise it 3 times to check that it was right. And they make statements like, we translated all from the original Aramaic, Hebrew, Greek, etc. That's a total fabrication, okay? Because those original ancient languages, like the Lishana Atika, Cypriot, Tab Asherit, or Tab Asheri, the Assyrian Aramaic or the Aramaic, the Tab Ivri, Hotep, they're all dead languages like Latin, Norse, the old Germanic, Old English, Middle English, etc. Right? Nobody uses them anymore, so unless you find a method, right? A certain method, and you can resurrect it and then translate it through a modern vernacular or modern derivative of that language, etc., etc. Yeah, and they also have idioms, right? In the Aramaic, the Hebrew, and probably the Greek, and even in the English, right? These are the way that these people, it's a form of expression, right? And how they put it across. Okay, you might have an Eastern mindset because this person is a scribe or monk or whatever from the Middle East, and he's been educated or raised, from infancy to adulthood with their traditions, their culture, their rites, their language, etc., etc. Right? So they think speak and write using an Eastern mindset, and we have a Western mindset because we're educated through a Western system, etc. Right? And we don't understand. Because we're not thinking on the same level as the Eastern person, right? So we try to translate a Eastern scribed book or scripted book using a Western mindset. It doesn't work. It doesn't gel. It's like oil and water, okay, or diesel and water. It just doesn't mix, right? Okay, so yeah, we're still waiting for this question to be answered, okay, because we're not too sure what he's getting at. Okay, yeah. So in the video, okay, here's some more on this. This is where people come undone in regard to comment statements similar to the one above, given us. As they haven't read the scriptures enough, take all out of context and so forth. They might read a couple of lines and then think, that's the entire Bible, I've read the entire Bible. Twist it, etc., etc. God set a list of rules from the very beginning. Adam and Eve were told them, right? God spoke to them and told them. They got tempted by another, the devil, Satan, the snake, whatever, who God had created. Supposedly they had no free will. Then, as if it was a command, because it was a command, a law, a rule, a principle, etc., that they had to follow, abide by. They had no excuses, because they were fixed or set, right? God said, so it shall be. But he gave them a choice. He may have said, choose this way, my way is the better, the other leads to death, misery, pain, anguish, lack, loss, etc. Life at the edge of sword. So we don't have free will as his said creations. So don't believe that hype. But he has given us a choice. He doesn't infringe upon our decision, our choice. He can step in and advise, but we can choose, decide not to listen or to listen, right? It's all over to us. But remember, there are consequences. As one infamous cult member stated, do what thou wilt when thou wanteth, or want. Okay, but remember, there are consequences. Okay, so you could say these retributions, paybacks, karmic payback, reaping what you're sown to, whatever you realise it actually is, right? Like you do something to someone, and it gets done to you. Payback, right? Some sort of payback, be it karmic or reaping what you sow, whatever. So I believe this is a thing that happens as I've experienced it and so realised it. Okay. Those who live it know it. Those who know it live it. Jim Rohn motivator. It might be a little twisted there, right? But yeah, it's basically a similar concept, right? What he's talking about. That you should, if you know it and you're living it, if you're knowing it, you're living it, and if you're living it, you're knowing it, right? I mean, it's like, I don't know about Islam, right? Unless I become a Muslim and get taught by Muslims who speak the language, etc., then I'm not going to really know or be familiar with Islam, am I? I just know what second hand or third hand from somebody else who may have been a Muslim or someone else who thinks they know Islam, and give this critique, and it could be completely bogus, or Christianity or Judaism, whatever, right? Okay. So all I've done for this family member has helped pull them up from their near suicides, bouts of suicide, manic depression, hypochondria. That's where they really hate other people, can't stand being around them. Their violent tendencies, bullying, etc. Helping them to recover in part from abuse done them by a creepy neighbour who they see every day. They can't avoid him, right? He's done some devious things when they were younger. But, out of fear, it didn't bring them up till they were older. Well, we can't do much about that, Only make people aware, right? Because in our area, cops don't really give a damn, People out there stealing cars, they just go talk to them, say, how do you do, how's it going, how's your life? And they don't do nothing, A lot of times they don't do nothing. Okay, we respect their atheism, LGBTQI, non-binary stance and all that other stuff they use. I have no clue about, because they say, oh, we're LGBTQI, A, B, C, D, E, F, add all these other letters on there. It's like, oh my gosh, not up with the jargon, right? Okay, so we respect their stance and more. So one day when old as, they may become wiser and realise, because when the older, the wiser you become, right? And reflect and say, damn son, that old fart was right, okay? All he said was right. And change their life via that advice they got, right? They may even come to God, who knows that? Who knows? Okay? They may suddenly realise, oh, my life sucked, right? It really sucked, Now I'm older and wiser. Wow, I wish I had known that, or had listened when I was younger, right? As it's claimed, we are all reliving our parents' lives and what they did when younger. We looked at what I've been told by this family member, etc., etc. It stated to him, oh yeah, when I was younger I did the same thing. That's really uncanny, that's really weird, and now you're doing that thing, right? You're repeating it, so yeah, maybe it's true. You're reliving my life when I was younger, right? And it's happening in your life. Yeah, it's just totally uncanny. Okay, so hopefully through this video it's given you some insight. We've got a lovely comment over here about someone who has similar problems. Really lovely person. Okay, really lovely comment there. Thank you for that, person. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, that you post us. We're still waiting for your answer to that one because we're not really sure. It's like we found a verse about, in the Bible about Jesus, and any man that's hung on a stake or a tree or whatever is cursed, and the footnotes underneath from the original Aramaic scriptures translated to English says wood or Caesar. And we're like, I can understand wood, it's that, that tree, whatever, is made of wood, but Caesar, I don't see how it relates. But I have to get hold of the translator who speaks the Aramaic, etc., and ask him what did he mean by that when he translated it in that particular book, chapter, and those footnotes, right? So if you liked this video, you really enjoyed it, and it's giving you great insight, then please subscribe to our channel, give us a like, add your comments below, and we should get back to you on those before the universe ends, before the end of time. And then go share this video with all your friends, family members, etc., and tell them about us, the Ministry of the Real Truth, who brings you the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Personal life experiences, realizations, and so forth.